Right now, big news for both the 2016 frontrunners, though it seems like they're running in opposite directions, as friends of Christie have yet another reason to hunker down and brace for impact. Friends of Hillary, they're not waiting for anything. And then the culture war is back with a vengeance. Abortion, same-sex marriage, returning as wedge issues, if that is, one party can get past what some says is a compassion gap. And later, Super Bowl Sunday, well, how about Super Saturday or Super Monday? I'm not making this up. Could fans actually be moving what time the game starts? That, as contingency plans from the NFL comes out of a Pandora's box. We'll have the latest on that straight ahead. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to RFL. I'm Richard French. Thanks so much for joining us this Thursday evening, January 23rd. We begin with some developing news providing the latest headache for New Jersey Governor Chris Christie. More subpoenas, this time from the feds, in a federal criminal investigation. This afternoon, the U.S. Attorney for New Jersey, Paul Fishman, issued subpoenas into the bridge backup scandal in Fort Lee, officially demanding documents from the Christie re-election campaign and the state Republican Party. No comment yet from Governor Christie, who has stated that his office would cooperate with any and all investigations. Federal subpoenas must be returned by February 5th. The campaign and the state GOP also under subpoena, order from the state assembly as well as state senate, and those documents expected back February 3rd. All right, let's get into this with our panel this evening. Dominic Carter, of course, and also Andrew Whitman, as always, and to his left here, for the first time, is Congresswoman Nan Hayworth from New York's Hudson Valley, and officially an unofficial candidate for our old seat, but we think she's running. We'll get into that, Nan Hayworth. All right. Dom, first, I give everybody the context. There's one thing if the Assembly and State Senate issue subpoenas. Right. It's a whole different thing if the feds get involved with the U.S. Attorney.
I'm glad you put it that way. When the U.S. Attorney issues subpoenas, it is no joke. This is an investigation that's going to the highest level of Governor Christie's administration, the Republican officials, the campaign officials. It's not good news. It's only one doorstep away from the governor himself. Now, I don't think any reasonable person expects for Governor Christie to be subpoenaed, but it's not far from him. So it's not a good day for the Christie folks.
And the scariest part for the governor might be that, you know, with a U.S. Attorney investigation, it doesn't have to stick with the specifics that it begins with. All you have to do is think back to Whitewater, which gave us Monica Lewinsky back in the 90s with President Clinton. So if they turn up something while they're investigating Fort Lee, that impacts any other thing. We already know, Andrew, it's got
more than one track now. Yeah. It started with Fort Lee, but now it's also into the Sandy funding and the advertising campaign, et cetera. We're going to see how this played out, but it was interesting. We spoke to a federal prosecutor last night on a legal panel, and he said, listen, it's one thing if the legislature issues subpoenas here. In some ways, they cross each other out because they compete for airtime. But if the feds get involved, it's more focused, and then those subpoenas carry real power here. Okay. With all that as a backdrop into the politics of this, Chris Christie was in many eyes, and these guys made fun of me because I thought he was as talented as any politician, and still might be, the face of the Republican Party that could gain some traction from the far right, who may have some distrust of him, but still go to those moderates who feel that they didn't have a place at the party. But now you have this situation play out, and Ken Cuccinelli, who's got his own problems, but still from Virginia, said, hey, this guy, forget about, shouldn't be running the Republican Governors Association. He shouldn't even be a part of it because he's distracting at best here. Speaking for a lot on the far right who think that in many ways, Christie wasn't good to Romney during the campaign with the hug of Obama post-Sandy, and also Christie was marginalizing the far right of the party. What about that? Is he a net negative for the party right now, or is he still probably the most talented candidate they'll get nationally in 2016?
Well, Governor Christie obviously is taking the current situation very seriously. They've said they're going to cooperate with the subpoenas. They need to do that. This is something that obviously he's going to be working, I'm sure, very hard on the next in coming days. But more to the point, why was Governor Christie, why is he considered to be such a powerful force? I think it's because his record in New Jersey is remarkable. He worked across the aisle with common sense. He asserted a powerful voice in behalf of the people of New Jersey to help them to grow an economy, to provide jobs in a state that really, really needed a boost. And those are the qualities that
the recent election and his approval ratings before this reflected that. Now, they've come down, but there's a different question. This is the midterm elections. Republicans have a real chance to take back the Senate right now and hold the House, if not pick up seats. Many people are saying he's now a distraction. And as much as we say, oh, it's only February, Dominic, I'll tell you, this thing could drag on and will drag on for months, not weeks, this investigation. Do Republicans really want to have Christie, head of the RGA and a prominent face of the party when we're going into late spring here, maybe even into summer with this cloud hanging over him? Or would they rather just say, just deal with Jersey and stay off the national landscape?
I think every state, every congressional district, we're all going to be dealing with the pressing issues that concern us right now, and not with the inside baseball, if you will, of the Governors Association. I mean, there are a lot of issues. Listen to folks in the Hudson Valley. People are desperate to get a better economy, to find jobs, to have some common sense apply in government. That's what they're going to be thinking about.
You both know, guys, that on Sundays, he's still going to be the get. He's great TV. People are going to want him on, and he's got to make his own calculation. Does he hunker down throughout the investigation, never leave the borders of New Jersey? Maybe forget about the Europe trip that he had talked about to polish off the foreign policy bona fides. But does he try and rehab his image in the meantime? And how much does the National Party really like that?
Richard, I don't think so right now. I don't necessarily see Governor Christie. I think the Congresswoman is right. All politics are local, and people care about the bottom line, their purse issues, pocketbook issues, mortgage, food, and so on. But when it comes to Christie, remember, a federal U.S. attorney is watching. So anything he says can come back to haunt him. He's in a very bad box. If he steps down as the head of the Governors Association, it points to weakness and damaged good. If he stays on, he's ineffective. Yep. Because if I'm a candidate, I surely don't want him coming to my state and standing next to me.
That's really the litmus test. By the way, this isn't going to be going on for months. This is going to be dripping out for years, because 2016 is down the road, and they will extend this. At least in Trenton, this investigation will extend as far close to 2016 as possible. But you've already had Lindsey Graham in South Carolina say, hey, I really don't want him coming down here and campaigning for me, because all of the questions will be about what's going on with him, and the focus won't be on me. That's really the litmus test for Chris Christie at this point. That's why the RGA is such a coveted spot, because it can impact other local races. And whether they tell him to stay home or not, that could be the make or break his presidential chances.
Do you have a favorite, if it isn't Christie, or even counting him on this? Who would you love to see? And I love how people say, oh, it's early. It's not early. They're already getting together, as we'll talk about in a second with Hillary. Is there a favorite Republican you have on the national level?
There's a lot of talent on the national level.
Give me a name, right?
Richard, because there is. And it is, I mean, look, we all know a few months in politics, a few months alone is a lifetime. I mean, that I think is true in many ways. I think we ought to be focusing on what's going on now.
Okay, but if I won't pin you down to a name, but there are a couple camps. Some say there's the Christie Jeb Bush camp, that's the moderate part of the wing, who's going to say we can bring both parts of the party together and win those coveted independents. And then there's the others, the Rubios and the rest, of Paul Ryans, who represent the more conservative, fiscally conservative part of the party, who say we can win, we just haven't had the right messenger yet. Which side of the party do you think Republicans down deep want more?
I think we have to concentrate on the issues that concern us the most and that unite everybody.
And that's the economy, right?
That's the economy.
Okay. Andrew, tell everybody why Priorities USA, what they did as it relates to Hillary, is more significant than just the inside baseball nature of it.
Well, first of all, Hillary hasn't declared officially that she's running for president, and yet this massive super PAC is now aligning themselves with Hillary. This is a super PAC that was formed to re-elect President Obama and spend lots of money, and now they have shifted from being an Obama-oriented super PAC to being a Hillary-oriented super PAC, along with bringing on some advisors who have supported her in the past. So she may not be officially running as of yet, but clearly she is running towards 2016, if not running in 2016. And the infrastructure is already in place for it to smooth the way, clear the road, get out any other Democrats who might be involved or might be thinking about it.
Yeah,
she's running.
You get the feeling. You get that feeling.
There's no doubt about it. We've done this dance before.
This thing before if this wasn't real.
I believe there's a New York Times cover that's coming out with Hillary Clinton on it, Sunday magazine. We have done this dance before. She, oh, I'm not running, we're going to play, we're going to do this two-step. Bill's going to do most of the talking. I would love for her to run. Women's groups are going to come out front. She is definitely running.
We'll also find out what that deal was between Obama and the Clintons in the run-up to the last election.
Here's how big this is. they spent $60 million in campaign ads in 2012 against Mitt Romney. Now you're putting that, like, I think it was the second or third biggest expenditure by a super PAC in the election. And now all of that power is going behind Hillary Clinton.
Yeah, I'm curious. Do Republicans cross their fingers and say we want her in or we want her out? And I can give the competing arguments. One is she'll clear the field. There won't be any real primary challenge, so she'll really go unchallenged in the primary process. Back up the Brinks truck, because, you know, it's time to print money when she runs, and she can fundraise from anybody without even going there to get the money. And then finally, she answers the question that this president couldn't, which was she could be ready and would be ready from day one. But yet, on the con side, there is the baggage. There's the last name, there's the husband, there's Benghazi. Do Republicans hope that Hillary is the nominee, or do they say that's going to be the toughest beat that we could face?
Richard, I have to say, this Republican hopes fervently that we will have a president come January 2017 who will be able to lead us into a better place for every American. There's so much opportunity.
And I know that you want that to be a Republican, but do you think the harder challenge would be Hillary or any other Democrat? If you had to pick the field or her to run against, who do you think most Republicans would want?
I think, you know, the Republicans are going, whoever the candidate is going to have to make effective arguments, compassionate arguments, and reach common ground with common sense. Whoever the Republican nominee is, and whoever the Democratic nominee is, I really do think it's too early to tell.
Who do you think
That's what
Republicans, I mean, she'd rally the base, but who do you think Republicans right now, if you did a poll of every Republican, they instinctively, viscerally don't like more, Obama or Hillary?
Right now it's Obama because he's president.
Definitely Obama. Right, he's the sitting incumbent president. Obamacare and so on, something the Congresswoman knows the issue very well. Definitely Obama.
Yeah.
It's easy to forget how much antipathy there is towards Hillary out there. She's very popular in our area, and she's also not the sitting president. So, but there, you know, when she was running, when she looked like the front runner in the 2008 race, everybody was coming out of the woodwork with a lot of anger towards Hillary Clinton.
But she also worked across the aisle
absolutely
in the Senate.
But she's also, for Republicans right now, they would know exactly what they get from a Hillary Clinton campaign, so they could already start game planning it. The other thing is, you know, there's a lot of talk about political outsiders. You've campaigned as an outsider before. You're likely to campaign as an outsider again. Hillary Clinton is the ultimate insider. You know, if for anybody who would want to run as an outsider, a governor has the chance to run as an outsider against Washington. Hillary Clinton cannot run against Washington. She is as Washington gets at this point.
But watch.
When
she's done flipping with Bill at her side.
Yeah, we'll be convinced that she's the outsider, right? Okay. Now, there was a comment that came from a Republican strategist, a prominent one, said, as long as we don't screw this thing up, we're going to win come November. But already there are roadblocks in the way for Republicans. When we come back, we'll ask the Congresswoman how they're going to navigate some of these speed bumps, including, believe it or not, another potential debt limit showdown. We'll be right back on that after this.